Happy Friday, Marshy here, and a little less energy than your usual Friday weekly newsletter update. I'm on the tail end of some lurgy, and it hasn't been a fun week, although I can smile about it now because I'm over the hump. So, yeah, this week is a bit different for the newsletter wrap up. Of course, we've got the newsletter wrap up here, and you can subscribe if you wish at lukemarshall.net/newsletter. But before I jump into the content, I thought I'd just share what I've built with GPT. So, the announcement last week from the dev day was that you can build GPT bots. It's relatively easy. And I was writing the newsletter this week and thought, well, let's give it a go. How easy is it? So I grabbed my content from my book, Start Marketing, basically a DIY guide on how to get started with your marketing, and fed it into the engine. And, how do I find customers for my, what's a good business that I get these questions for all the time? Oh, for my new software startup that services families and schools. It's an old client. And yeah, and what I found in building it, it does need a bit of training in that how I wrote my book, which is about 40,000 words, gives you frameworks and concepts, and occasionally it'll go off script and ad lib, and that's fine. I think one of the things that was really important to me in the book was not to jump into paid ads. There's more cost effective ways to learn it first. And so, yeah, this actually echoes some pretty good language from the book. So identify your customer, figure out who they are, but take a guess, hang out where they are, and then don't just look at numbers or demographics. They might help for scale. They don't really help at the early days. Talk to them directly, and then, what, where, when, why, and how to uncover more information about them. And yeah, that's one of the principles from the book. It's in there. So yeah, if you've got the premium version of Start Mark of ChatGPT, you can have a play, which is because it's linked in this week's newsletter. So one thing I'm trying to get in the habit of is sharing the prompt with what I'm building here. And, AI is definitely the 800-pound gorilla. And so, yeah, the newsletter this week, build your own chat agent. So I, was doing my research and followed up on a podcast here. This guy looks a bit like Stifler from American Pie. And yeah, it really is a three-step process. This is what you see. You go here if you've got a premium subscription, and then the create section, you just feed it instructions. The configuring is just some descriptions and the like, and then there it is. And so, yeah, like I say, I grabbed the book. You've got the link to GPT there if you've got premium. And the example I share in my newsletter is if you are launching a yoga business, and it provides some pretty decent answers. Would I have answered it that way if you were talking to me in the flesh? I'd be more succinct, but I think it's a great start. And, I see potential emerging with this stuff already. My brain will just jump forward as it does. One of the things I've been testing is manual outreach with B2B software companies, and really deliberately doing it manually because I can add the automation or process or software later. And I offer some value up front and follow up with more value up front. And yeah, I can really see a GPT agent helping with something like that. And then other things you could do with this tool, and sort of today, it's quite possible with a little bit of low coding knowledge. You could actually build a private GPT that pipes into the articles and highlights I've saved in say, Readwise, and then ask it questions like a second brain or a Pensieve from Harry Potter, which is my dream. Or like I've journaled for a very long time, so I could create a journaling app that knows my ambitions and goals, and then scans my brain dumps or journaling for patterns in thinking that may lead to clashes with those ambitions and goals. So interesting one there. And then to finish, I did a webinar this week on Wednesday to a room full of marketers. I think we had about 80 marketers or 50 marketers on the call, the Australian Marketing Institute. And so I've got the slides there, and basically it was on bolstering your partnership marketing with AI tools. And I think the principle of this presentation was, find a system that already works for you, then overlay AI to help. And in this instance, for example, you could use AI to find potential new partners. You could use it to find entry points for whatever pitch or approach you're using. And then you can actually use AI to standardize the production process. That's a lot. Hopefully, I have more energy last week, and I hope you got something out of this. If you did, feel free to subscribe to lukemarshall.net/newsletter. And if you didn't, just enjoy watching and seeing my face regale you with AI news, that's cool too. I'll see you next week. Thanks.